A famous poet has called this the age of anxiety. He meant that a certain sense of fear and of terror characterizes much of our lives.
Anxiety or fear is every neurosis, but there are other forms it takes, such as compulsions, where a person is forced to do any number of ritualistic things, such as washing their hands frequently against their own desires. There are depressions, or more sad than they should be for any particular realistic situation. And there are what we call character neuroses, which are really things that most people don't recognize as disturbances or as upsets, but which require them to live their lives in a certain way where they're not reaching or developing their optimal potential inside themselves due to some underlying deficit. Most people don't know what they're afraid of. And really, this is where the great discoveries of Freud at the turn of the century uncovered. Freud discovered the concept of the unconscious mind. As long as we only look at the thing from a surface point of view, we really can't understand these problems of neuroses at all. But when we begin to discover that individuals have their fears and anxieties about which they themselves are not aware, and what an effect this has on their behavior and functioning, then we discover that a good part of each person's functioning is out of awareness, or, putting it another way, in the unconscious mind. Now, usually the unconscious mind is revealed in our dreams, in the play of children, in daydreams, and also in the symptoms of a neurosis or a psychosis. Well, what made him stop is a particular characteristic pattern he's developed over the years, undoubtedly from his earlier childhood on up until the present, of handling his inner fears and rages.
But he was doing all right until a few years ago.
I don't believe that he was doing all right. He was doing better than he was doing now, but I'm sure that if we went back further into his history, we would see trouble spots way back then.
Even though he was managing a job and
Yes.
doing a lot of community stuff? Well, don't you think that there's something in it when people say, oh, a person like this needs a good kick in the pants? Well, everybody has a good deal of difficulty in the mere business of living, and it's a hard job.
No question about it, but some of us are perhaps more fortunate in the choice of our background, if you want to be facetious about it, in the choice of our parents, in the choice of our family structure. And we develop a sounder approach to the problems of the difficulties that come up in life.
Does he know this?
I don't think he does at all.
Can one know it and still do it?
One can know it and still do it. This is one of the interesting problems that face us. We can become aware of our unconscious, but just becoming aware alone, while very helpful, is not the total answer.
Now our patient is faced with some hard questions about not working. What's he think about others and of himself? What's he holding in? What's he covering up? What about his own mental state? What does he think of that? Well, it seems to me that we have here a very angry young man.
What he's trying to do is that he's trying to protect himself and defend himself against the onslaught of his inner rage and hostility. Everybody, this is an innate biological response. Hannon, the great scientist, spoke of it as the flight and fight response, so that it is a very helpful response. But in our society, for some reason or other, there are tremendous taboos against the overt, outward expression of rage and anger. So most of us handle it more or less efficiently than in the case of actual cases of neuroses, full-blown neuroses. But almost everybody in the society has some problem with fear and rage.
In a sense, instead of expressing your anger to others, you're taking it out through yourself?
Somehow or other it happens that way. That somehow or other the tension that is being generated by these feelings is being discharged within the body into our various organ systems, which then become diseased. I mean, this is the concept of stress and tension. We have a clear picture here of how he's trying to deny and run away from the fact of how angry he is.